Today I'm going to discuss about the common issue of the H2 database integrated with Spring Boot and its fix. First thing is about the ID. ID is auto generated, right? And we don't need to put the setter method, only getter method. Now question is why getter method? Otherwise the value will not be visible itself. And how will I get that ID value? It's by the find by ID. And for email id you have to write the custom function. Okay, I will discuss later. And from Angular to use Spring Boot we have to write at the rate cross origin, and since its local port is the 4200 you have to specify that. So Angular to use Spring Boot you have to write at the rate cross origin on the top of the controller. Okay, let me discuss about the id related stuff. So basic id related stuff is that no getter only get no setter method, only getter method. That is the ideal one. Okay, so this is the correct code. So here there is the setter method is commented out, only getter method. Okay, and here I post in the post function. If I put the id also, you see that I put that 345, but the value when I check it, it's giving as a 2. Okay, that means 345 has no value whether you have given id or not, because I have given specified this is a id and it's a at the rate generated value. So you don't have to give the id explicitly. So no id since it's a database generated. And if you give it's sequentially, say first time I have created 1 and the second time 2 and next time 3. So this way id is getting created. Now question is that if I don't give the getter method, okay, so if you don't give getter method, what happened in the Swagger? You don't find the id itself, it's not visible getter method. So here it's not visible, and if you don't give as id as input and no output as id, so id will not be visible. And also if you give the id also, but you don't have getter method, so if you give id, so you expect that id will be there when you check it? No. So getter method is very important to get the id. Okay, and to get the email id, so how will I get the id? This is a here it is the primary key. It's by the find by id. Okay, this function is not written here, but it's a JPA provided. Okay, but for the custom other field like email, you have to write find by email. Okay, so here I have searched with the email ID and I will get the response in the email. Okay, and here is that r@g.com. I will get that that corresponding record, and the ID itself, if I give that ID, so it's a number 3, you will get that. Okay, and let me show it just from Swagger. What is that present situation here? uh, I see that there is a 3 record. Okay, and there is a 3 record, and let me check one of it. Say I am going to check with one of the record. I want to search with swagata@g.com in the email. Okay, I get that one. And what's the get one? This is the find by user ID email. Okay, now search with email ID, you will get the corresponding email. Okay, and for other than email, suppose you want to search by the ID, you have to mention just the ID. Okay, since it's a 1 2 3 is the sequentially at the rate generated values is 3. You will give 2, you will get 2. Okay, so this is the way. Okay, and now going to show it like how it happened here. So for email id, so it's the get mapping email id. and other cases you see that optional, but here I have written Angular users as the in the repository I have written this function. You see that this function I have just declared, not interface I have not implemented, but JPA repository is intelligent enough. Uh, you don't have to implement it, and you can get it. Okay, so the list of the Angular users, and the since Spring Boot is list is converted to the JSON. Okay, and this is the model object. Here you see that no setter method, only getter, and that I have written @generated @entity. That's a very simple for the JPA repository. Okay, and to register the value, there's the post operation. You have to give that request body is the entire things. So when you have put any user, okay, let me put one users, say Shankar. Okay, I give Shankar, and here I don't put anything. Okay, ID. Okay, although here model its schema is showing that ID, but it's not, it's auto generated. So once try it, you will find that Shankar was successfully. Okay, now see that list of the users. Okay, let me check that list of the users here. Here I see Shankar, last time it has been generated, so it's a 4. Okay, and I can search with that email ID also. So I can search with first with 4 also. So it will get Shankar. So if you search with the by the ID is a 3, you will find different. Okay, uh, let me search by the email ID. Email ID, something going wrong. No, what I have done is the find by ID. Okay, so this is not the correct one. You will get that 400 bad request. You should check in the email itself, it's not in the ID. So let me check in the email itself. So I can get the email with the shankar@g.com, the record, particular record, I can get it. Okay, so this is the way. So I have discussed about the post operations, find users, find by email ID, all users, and cancel. It's also very simple. It's a delete operation, cancels. It's a user repository, delete by ID. So find all, find by ID, and delete by ID. It has not been written in the repository, right? But the custom like email, I have to write it explicitly. So say I can delete it. Let me show. So here in the delete operation, uh, so response status, so I have to give that ID itself. Okay, so delete by ID. So here I uh, Swagata. So number 3 record I am going to delete it. Let me see how it works. So now 1 2 4, right? So after deleting, so I can delete it. So that's a very simple. And on the top of, and here you have to mention this is the delete @delete mapping, and I have covered @get mapping 3 places, and the 1 post operation, 3 get operation, and 1 delete operation. And I have to mention @rest controller and the request mapping here, and the cross origin. And since later I will show it how to consume this web service from the Spring Boot, because from Spring Boot cross origin I have to mention here Spring Boot I hosting using 4200, so I have mentioned here. And repository is just a simple, and this one only for the custom, and this long as the ID. here is the id and mention as a long and the entity table, and since it's like you can mention the serial version uid. Okay, so this is the very simple way to handle the h2 database. Okay, thank you very much.